Welcome, everyone. Good boy, Tucker. This is learning at its most fun.
Welcome, everybody, to Building Your Tech Stack with Redtail CRM. I'm your host, Austin Johnson, trainer and subject matter expert here at Redtail Technology. And today we're talking about enhancing your client engagement and onboarding. We've invited our friends from PreciseFP, a recurring guest to Building Your Tech Stack, but because PreciseFP and Redtail work so hand in hand together, it's one that I often find myself recommending to different Redtail users when they want to get more efficient about getting good, clean data into their CRM. And so today we have our guest, Courtney. Courtney, good morning.
Morning.
Courtney, thank you for joining us today. For those of you who might not have met Courtney yet, Courtney, can you go ahead and give us just a brief introduction about yourself and your role at PreciseFP?
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks again for having me. So my name is Courtney Peak. I am the team lead of the customer care support team here at PreciseFP. Been with PreciseFP almost 8 years now. So I work in helping users get really onboarded to PreciseFP, creating educational content for our website and hosting these awesome webinars with our partners. So yeah.
Awesome, Courtney. And just in case we have somebody here that might not have heard of PreciseFP yet, can you just give us a brief summary as to what PreciseFP is and the value that they create for advisors?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're a data gathering platform. So our biggest goal is to help advisors really get out of having to do that not so fun data entry. So it's really PreciseFP is really just kind of offloading the data entry a little more onto your clients, but they're working in a safe and secure environment that's on a digital form. And with our partnership, like with Redtail, really with click of a button, you can get that data right on over to Redtail. So yeah, very excited to show everybody that today.
Awesome, Courtney. And so you have some best practices and some recommendations as far as enhancing client engagement and onboarding. So if you could go ahead and take the screen over now and give us a demo on how we can use PreciseFP to accomplish those two things.
Yes, absolutely. I'd be happy to. So yeah, once I get the screen going here. So like I was saying, PreciseFP, we're a data gathering platform. We've been around since, this year is our 15th year that we've actually been in the business. We've been around since 2007. So yeah, celebrating our 15th year this year. So when we first actually started, we only had one questionnaire. It actually wasn't even able to be it wasn't even able to be customized. So we really have grown from a simple financial questionnaire to a complete data management solution that captures and validates and securely stores client data. And part of what I'm going to be talking about today is how we integrate with our partners at Redtail. We also integrate with financial planning tools and so much more, so that as advisors, you really can share this data between applications, like I said, with a click of a button, and really get you out of the data entry business altogether. A lot of times people tend to think who may have heard about us that we are just a fact-finding solution. But as you can see listed out here, PreciseFP really has so much more to offer at one low cost. And what I'm really excited to talk about is how you really can use PreciseFP at the forefront and really have it go in multiple paths, not only to your CRM, but also to fill out custodial forms. So I'm very excited to show that today. So, and like I mentioned before, when we first started out, we only had just one questionnaire available. wasn't able to be customized. So again, really evolved over the years with the help from advisors like you all that are joining us today to make PreciseFP what it is, really make the experience for your clients as well as you and your business much more efficient by having all of these important pieces happening in one platform. So when advisors come to us, they're usually gathering data through other means like a fillable PDF or a Word document or a spreadsheet. And it's just not an efficient process, as it then requires you to manually input that data into your financial planning software and into Redtail. And, not to mention the client's part is incredibly time consuming. So data collection and data entry, it represents 40% of the cost of creating a financial plan. So by using PreciseFP, what this is going to do is it's actually going to eliminate this cost by removing the burden of data gathering from you, the advisors. And your clients, they're going to be engaged if the experience is tailored to their needs, especially when it comes to high net worth clients who more than likely do not want to fill out the same generic questionnaire or fill out a form that isn't applicable to them. So with PreciseFP, what you can do is you can create a guided experience by tailor making the data gathering experience while also doing things like reducing NIGO, not in good order, by adding validated and required fields. Because again, this data that you're capturing not only can go to your CRM, but it can also trickle down and fill out custodial forms too. So again, with our new custodial PDFs that we've really expanded upon that over the past couple of years. You can really slim down the data input needed by the client, since the data from, again, one singular form template can then export on over to, again, your CRM, and then also fill out an account opening form, and really just making the overall onboarding process a breeze. So let's go ahead and dive right in and show you this kind of start to finish. And then of course, we can go through questions at the end, like we usually do. So let me go ahead and, oops, I'm sorry. Let me pause here. Escape out of here. Let me go back to my screen. So we'll look at the PreciseFP dashboard. What I always like to show folks is, when you get started with PreciseFP, the beauty of the platform is we have a library full of templates that are ready to go and ready to be used. Now you'll see that we've got form templates and PDF templates. So I am going to be kind of talking about both, but just to kind of distinguish between the two. So a form template is something that's going to go to your client to have them give you data. So let me just pull up one of our forms here. This is a really great one that does work with Redtail. A lot of this information is going to be able to export over to Redtail, and then it's also going to be able to populate into custodial forms for you too. So I'm going to show all of this, but this is a form template. This is what it would look like when it goes to your client. It's just a digital form that you are sending out to them, engaging them with. It's a link that goes to their email. You can send it out of PreciseFP, or you can grab the link and send it out of your own email, whichever route you prefer. The client comes in here and you'll see I've got some fields that are marked as mandatory, so they can't skip over that. There's validation to these fields too. Like here, for example, is an email field. If I tried to enter in, Courtney.com, and I just tried to move over, it's going to tell the client that this email format is invalid. So we do things like this at this data gathering level to ensure that you're going to get in good, clean, and proper data, because again, not only is this information going to be able to travel over to your CRM, fill in your CRM, but it's also going to be able to go into custodial forms. And we're doing everything that we possibly can to reduce NIGO, not in good order for you here. So on the client's end, we're trying to reduce, the amount of paperwork that they have to do. So they're inputting all of this information. It's going to auto save as they're going through and they're filling out this form. Now you can even set up, this is a great example of showing you really how you can make your forms dynamic, really making it so that you're not sending the same generic form every single time. Also showing you how you can really tailor make a form essentially. So here we have simple yes or no questions. They mark no in these cases, then they can move forward. But kind of where the magic happens here is if they mark yes, then a section will open up. And in this case, we're asking them if they want to include their children as beneficiaries. That section does open up, and same with the trusted contacts there. page, or that, excuse me, that group opens up, they can go through and they could input all the information that you're requiring of them. Again, mandatory fields throughout, form auto saves. They can click on the add more button and they can add more rows of children or trusted contacts here. Moving along, this is a great form that I see a lot of folks using. Keep in mind though, that you can customize this. So you don't have to use this form as is. If you want to add more fields out here, you can. If you want to remove anything, you can. A lot of this is going to pre-fill with their names, so they'd be able to select their name from these drop downs. You'll just kind of see how it's, it's kind of creating a path for them based on the answers that they're selecting here. So maybe they want to open up a retirement account. They choose the type that they want. Again, their names would populate here. They can choose how many beneficiaries that they want to list. It adds that number of rows automatically. If they mark yes to it being a transfer from another account, you'll see that it allows them a spot to upload a recent statement and so on and so forth. So just so much that they can do here. Again, just makes your life easier, right? You're getting in all this information that you need, and I'm going to show you how all this information is going to be able to, well, the vast majority of this information is going to be able to, again, trickle down and get into custodial forms and also get over into Redtail. So all of this information here, this is the end of the form. But like I said, this is a form that is able to be customized. So if you folks wanted to come out here and add more fields, the sky is absolutely the limit. But we feel it's a pretty good base to get you started. Some people will post this form online so the client can, at their leisure, go out there and on the advisor's website, fill this out. You can even, I don't have the time to show it today, but you could really automate this. So, which I've seen some advisors do, they've created some really awesome processes. And you'll see this is kind of lighting up here. It's because I missed all these fields, which, right? We want to make sure we get all this information in. We don't want the client to skip over it. So that's why you're seeing that. But back to what I was saying, I've seen some really, really awesome processes created and developed by advisors and firms where, and keep in mind, you could do this too, where they put like, going back to like this page here, the type of retirement account that they are opening, they'll have, if they say traditional IRA, well, they can actually set a trigger to have the traditional IRA PDF for, Schwab or TD tied to this. So based on their answer here, the custodial form could automatically generate based on what they select. So it's not set up that way by design. But if you wanted to do that, that is definitely something that you could do. So you could have some automation there. So yeah, there's just so much that you can do in regards to this. Again, I don't have the time to go in that detail to show you how to set that up, but yeah, you can always reach out to us in our support. We'd be happy to show you that. But so that is something that you can definitely set up, really automate a lot of this. So going back to what happens now when the client fills this out, right? So what happens to this data? The client's filling out the form, now what? So next step would really be, you'll get an email alert letting you know that the client has completed the form. So now what you can do is you can go back to the client's account and you'll be able to review the information that the client gave. A lot of that information will move to the client profile here. The data from the client profile, a lot of these fields are what go over then to Redtail. So from here, you can click on export and choose Redtail. And if it's a brand new client or a brand new prospect on export, it would actually show you an option to create a new record over in Redtail. Let me show you an example here of somebody that I don't have in my CRM yet. So I can click on export and choose Redtail, and I can right here create a new record in Redtail. So me as the advisor, I didn't do any manual data entry. My client filled out my form, maybe off of my website. filled that out. Now they're a new prospect in PreciseFP. Now I can export them over into Redtail, and on export, it would create that record. You don't have to manually create them in your CRM, and it exports that data that flows to Redtail over there for you. So you didn't have to do any type of manual data entry whatsoever. Now, on the flip side of that, what's really cool with the Redtail integration that we have is it is bidirectional. So we would actually recommend and suggest as sort of a best practice tip is if you have somebody that's already in Redtail and you maybe need to do, I don't know, like an annual review with them, or maybe you need to do an account opening with them. Well, what you can do is you can actually import them in from Redtail into PreciseFP. That is going to bring the data that you have on file for them from Redtail into PreciseFP. And then it can, if you send out something like this custodial onboarding form, because you maybe want to do account opening for them or whatever the situation may be, instead of this being blank, it would actually pre-populate with their data, making less work for the client. They would be able to go through here and see what's already on file. Now they could make changes to the data if, if anything has changed and submit it back to you. And if that happens, if they do make any changes to the data, we actually highlight in this profile here and tell you exactly what they did change. So we tell you if they made any modifications or if they added in brand new data, and the actual field itself will highlight to say, hey, this is exactly where this client of mine made a change. So now you can easily see what was updated before you then export it back on over to Redtail. So going back to, all right, maybe they did the custodial onboarding form. We know what type of accounts to open for them. What's that next step? Well, now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a couple of avenues that you can take. If you are with TD or with Schwab, what you can do is you can actually enable the integration into the Schwab Advisor Center or into TD's Veil One, the Forms Wizard. This is just an export like you would do to Redtail. This is not an import. So this would actually export data on over to the Advisor Center or to the Forms Wizard. So again, exporting on over to Redtail, and then you can come over here and you can export over to Schwab or to the Forms Wizard, and it takes that data that the client gave to you, transfers it over into Schwab or the Forms Wizard, and populates forms that way. So that's one avenue that you can take. The other avenue is you can use what we call PDF templates. Now, when we go to the library here, we actually have some of Schwab and TD's most commonly used forms out here. We do manage these in this PDF library. And what I mean by that is if TD or Schwab has updates, they generally let us know in a timely manner, and we get these updated in the library so that you're using the most commonly used, or excuse me, the most, recently updated forms in the library. Now, a couple of avenues that you can go with these. Any of these that you want to use, just a matter of coming out here, clicking on it, and click on Install Template. These are not able to be customized because they have their forms. We can't go in there and customize them, but you can do a preview and take a look and see what it's going to look like. If you want to do a download of this, you can come out here and do PDF version, and it will actually download a PDF for you. If you have to go the avenue of doing a hard copy to someone, that's something that you can do out of PreciseFP if you want. And then you do have the option to actually upload your own PDFs too. For example, I do have a lot of advisors who also use PreciseFP for like their service agreements. Maybe they have been using a PDF version of their service agreement. Now they want to get that into PreciseFP, just kind of using PreciseFP as their really their data gathering platform. So all these kind of different elements or different steps of their data gathering processes are all done in PreciseFP. So you can come out here and you can upload a PDF template. A fillable PDF is recommended, but if you do not have a fillable PDF, you can actually lay down fillable fields to it. You can even lay down e-signature fields. Now, we do have an integration with DocuSign. You would have to have your own DocuSign account to enable that. But we also do provide our own electronic signature. That is something that is included in the cost of PreciseFP. So if you maybe have like a service agreement or a contract or an IPS or something like that, that doesn't necessarily need DocuSign like TD and Schwab require, you could certainly use our e-signature and have that go through the PreciseFP authentication and signature process for that. So that's something that you can certainly do too. So now, going back to our kind of process that we were talking about, the steps where, now the client has completed the custodial onboarding form or maybe a different form. We exported that data on over to our CRM, got that over there. Now we need to do an account opening with them. Again, like I mentioned, you can export that on over to the Advisor Center or to the Forms Wizard, or you can go the avenue of creating a PDF for them. Now with a PDF, what this is doing is it's basically coming out here and it's taking up to 5 forms, 5 PDF templates at a time. If you have to do more than 5, you would just have to go back and create another engagement for them. So let's say I work with Schwab. So what I can do is I've got my Schwab account opening, and I'm going to do an IRA account. I could choose up to three more if I wanted to. I'm just going to do these 2 for now. So I'm going to go ahead and click on continue. So now what we're doing is we're pre-filling this with some of the information that we already have on file for this client. So here we are pre-filling the account app. Down here is the IRA account app. So I'm going to choose from this client's account who's going to be the first account owner. Well, I'm going to say it's Emily from this account. I can continue moving and choose who's going to be the trusted contact and so on and so forth. Same with the IRA. I'm going to choose who the account owner is. I can do trusted contacts, beneficiaries. They do have some children on file. James and Tessa are their children, so I can add them, so on and so forth. So next stop when we click on continue is configuring the electronic signatures. Again, with TD and Schwab PDFs, they do require DocuSign. So I have selected a Schwab form, and it is only going to allow me to select DocuSign. It will not allow you to select PreciseFP. If you are using your own PDF template and you have DocuSign enabled, you'll have the option to also use PreciseFP as an e-signature provider. If you don't have DocuSign enabled and you do have an e-signature element on your PDF template, then it would just say PreciseFP is the e-signature provider. Another option that you can do is you can opt not to capture e-signatures. So in the event of preparing a TD or a Schwab form, what would happen at the end if I chose not to capture e-signatures is it would just, you're going to go to the next step, which is pre-filling the form, which I'll show you in just a moment here. But at the end of that, it would just have a button that says generate documentation. And it basically just downloads the completed forms for you. You download that, and then you can then manually forward that over to Schwab or TD, whoever you're preparing that form for. In this example, though, I am just going to keep the capture e-signatures to yes. So now for the forms, just depending on the forms that you're preparing, it's going to ask you to select who the signers are going to be. So my first signer for the account owner is going to be Emily. So I'm not going to be able to change that. If there was an account owner 2, I would be able to select who that is. Same with the signers for the IRA account. As far as signers, it's going to show you all persons under the account in PreciseFP. You can choose yourself as the advisor, or you can add in a custom signer. So you'll just need all of this information, and then they would be able to be a signer as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click on continue here. Now, this next step that we're going to see is we're going to see edit mode. Basically, this is going to open up the forms for you in the dashboard. And this is where you're going to be able to see the data pre-filled out that I already have on file for my client. So because I chose, let me scroll down here. Here's my account holder information. Remember, we chose Emily as the account holder for the Schwab account app. All of her information that I have on file for her is coming in here pre-filled out. There's Brandon as the trusted contact person. Now, me as the advisor, what I can do now, again, we don't have all of these fields in PreciseFP on that form. So you can come out here and you can fill in the blanks basically. And it will auto save for you as you're doing that. When you move on to the next form, if you happen to forget some mandatory fields, it's going to stop you and it's going to say that there are some missing fields. Do you want to continue? You can move forward, but no, it's going to direct you where you need to go. You're going to need to fill in those blanks and then just kind of move forward. I am just going to bypass that and keep going here. So now we're on to the next form. Remember, we could have up to 5 per engagement. So just in this example, I just have the 2. Here we are at the IRA account app. Again, going down here, we're going to have Emily as the account holder. All of her information is pre-filling in there. Remember, again, we were just pretending that she filled out this form, right? So we have her information on file already. We exported it over to our CRM. Now that same information that she filled out is pre-filling into these forms here. Now, as the advisor, again, anything that I input here is going to auto save. I close out of here. I can view my signers real quickly. If there's more than one, I could choose a routing order for them. I can customize the emails that are going to accompany the engagement. If I need to go back and change anything, I can click on edit documents. Once you click on this button, you are not going to see that edit documents button anymore. So as the advisor, you can, midway through, close out. It's going to auto save for you very similarly to how the client has that auto save functionality on their form. When you need to come back out here, you just go under your engagements, click on the engagement, click on edit documents, and it is going to bring you back into edit mode for the forms. Everything that you've done will be auto saved there. Once you're ready to send these off, what you'll do is, let me close out of this, it'll take a minute. Once we're done, we click on the send documentation for e-signature. Now, what happens is with the DocuSign integration that you enable, again, you have to have your own credentials for that. But once you enable that DocuSign integration, what happens is it takes that form or forms, fires that over to DocuSign, creates an envelope, sends it over to the client and all signers, everybody signs. And then just depending on who you've got it enabled for, it's going to auto forward to Schwab or it'll auto forward to TD for you for processing. So again, just to recap, the client is just getting the forms to sign when they're doing the PDF engagements. They are not filling out anything. They already did. They filled out everything on the form. Again, that form can be this custodial onboarding form, or if you want to customize that and add more questions, you can even add more questions to this custodial form and map those to the PDF form. So if you want to collect more data and maybe have those map to the PDFs, that's something that you can definitely do. We have some people who do that. They really come out here and, you can map check boxes that you may create to the PDF forms, text boxes, all of that. So, really, you can have the client fill out as much or as little information as you want or need them to, and have them come in and, fill in these fields. Generally, a lot of this information is filled out by you as the advisor, so you don't necessarily, need to map everything, but you definitely could. And this information up here, what you can do here is I went to the PDF template that I installed from the library. You may have seen it as I was going through and editing the engagement, but you as advisors, you can come out here and you can input information out here. So there's a default value here. So you don't have to retype this information that's usually at the top of these forms. You can come out here and put a default value here. So that's always here anytime that you prepare this form for someone. So that's why you were seeing, you probably saw it as I may have been going a little fast, but yeah, you can have your information. Let me pull it up. I think it'll show you here, but you can have your information, like I said, kind of sit there as a default in the PDFs so that that information is always there. If it changes for whatever reason, you can always go back and you can change that. That's the only kind of exception to the rule with kind of adding your own customizations. Here you can see my information is pre-filling in here. So you guys can do that too on the PDF forms. That's definitely something that you can do. So that is, again, going back to, you know, the process, the efficiency here, the kind of workflow. There's a lot of ways that you can kind of start this process. Like I mentioned, you know, we've had, and I personally have worked with advisors who have done something like this custodial onboarding form, and they have done what we call web publish that form. They put that form on their websites, their social media sites, their LinkedIn pages, most commonly their websites. And it makes it so that when the client goes out there and they fill out that form, behind the scenes, there's a lot of automation that you can establish to have these custodial forms, onboarding forms, all happening automatically. So yes, there's a little bit of work in getting this all set up, but really you can create automation so that honestly, again, the client can kind of be almost like self-serve. If you know, if you kind of think about it, they're going out there, going to your website, they're filling out maybe that custodial onboarding form, and then you've got all of these different kind of components working together behind the scenes where, okay, they said they wanted to open up an IRA account. Okay, they checked that box. I've got the IRA form tied to that. That's going to be you know, populated automatically. And then I could go in and I can come into PreciseFP. I'll be able to see that engagement has been started. I can go out and I can fill out the rest. So there's just so much that you can do. You know, you can even, like, if you wanted to, you know, use other components of PreciseFP too. You know, this is just kind of one kind of component to PreciseFP, one solution to PreciseFP is those you know, onboarding and all of that, but there's so much that's out here in regards to data gathering forms that you're definitely not limited to just that. You know, take for example the Redtail fact finder. This is a widely popular form. It has all of the fields that map to Redtail in it already, so it really makes PreciseFP able to be just kind of plug and play. You immediately sign up. You can start using this with clients and prospects alike. And this is customizable too. And then the other really cool thing about the Redtail integration is if you are an advisor or firm that uses user-defined fields, you can actually create those same fields in PreciseFP, add them to your form, and then you can add them to the mapper. So you can have that information exporting on over too. I've seen so many really cool forms where advisors ask their clients things like, well, obviously, you know, getting assets, liabilities, that important stuff. But I see them usually kind of create almost like a survey-like form that's kind of getting them, you know, used to doing these forms. They'll ask kind of fluffy questions, if you will, like, what's your favorite beverage and what's your favorite sports team, something like that. And it's a user-defined field that they also have in their CRM, and it all just goes back over into their CRM. That way, you know, with the favorite beverage, right? You know, that's something that's, you know, you can certainly create custom. And the client says, you know, their favorite beverage is coffee. Well, then now you've got that in your CRM. You're preparing the meeting for them when they're coming through, and you can see what their favorite beverage is. Now, you know, you can have that on hand. So there's a lot that can be done. And we've got tutorials on how to do all of this, how to customize these forms, how to do the PDFs, how to do the, the expanding upon the Redtail integration. The integration is just handled in PreciseFP, meaning you just come out here into PreciseFP, and what you can do is just enable the integration. That's all you have to do. You don't have to turn anything on at the Redtail side of things. You just come out here to PreciseFP, enable your Redtail credentials, and you're ready to go. You'll do the importing and the exporting of data. I should note that the importing and exporting of data is not automatic. So when you want to have somebody from Redtail into PreciseFP, you do have to come out here and import them in from Redtail into PreciseFP. And on the flip side of that, you want somebody's information, or if they're brand new, now you want to get them over to Redtail. Well, what you can do is same thing, go to them, click on export, and get them on over to Redtail. I know that with Zapier, you can create an automatic zap to have somebody that is, I know like one of the common zaps that I've seen some advisors set up is when somebody is created in PreciseFP. So for example, going to that example that I was given earlier, maybe the form is posted online, they fill it out as a brand new prospect, that creates them as a brand new prospect in PreciseFP. You could use Zapier as a bridge to kind of create even more workflows, where it says, when someone is created in PreciseFP, automatically create them in Redtail. Not saying you have to do that. That is just something that I have seen some advisors do if you want to have some automation in that regard. A lot of options, folks. There's a lot of things that you can do out there. I hope that gives you some kind of ideas and some inspiration, especially if you're a PreciseFP user and Redtail user, and you're looking to kind of expand upon maybe using PreciseFP a little more in depth. Hopefully that gave you some inspiration there. I will say, if you are a Redtail user and you haven't signed up for PreciseFP yet, we do offer folks a 30-day trial. So that is, if that is something that you want to take advantage of, you just go out to our website, precisefp.com, mention this webinar, and we will get you set up with a 30-day trial. So you can actually go and activate on the website. And to reach us at our support, you can actually, we've got live chat. So if you have any questions for PreciseFP, you can actually just go right to our website, precisefp.com, and you'll see the chat icon in the lower right-hand corner. Send us a message. Myself, my team, we're there Monday through Friday. Happy to go over any questions, concerns that you may have about the platform.
We love this partnership between PreciseFP and Redtail. It just makes our life so much easier when it comes to gathering that important, critical client information that, of course, is going to make Redtail even more powerful, because good data in equals good data out. And so, Courtney, thank you again for showing us all the awesome stuff PreciseFP can do. And again, folks, if you're interested in getting started, please go to precisefp.com and take advantage of that 30-day trial.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Austin, for having me. It's always a pleasure. And thanks everyone for attending and for the awesome questions.
Bye now.
Thanks so much for joining us today for this particular session. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to give us a call at 800-206-5030, option 3 for support, or just shoot us an email over to support@redtailtechnology.com. Thanks a lot and have a great day.